So I want to plant daikon seeds. Now daikon is the Japanese name for the really long radish that you see, made famous by the Japanese. In actual fact, it's the Japanese name, daikon, but in India, the same type of radish, which is similar in size, is referred to as mooli. Now, from Bangladesh, where I'm originally from, we call it moola. Now, with it being a radish, I'm going to treat it like a winter, late autumn radish sowing. And I have grown daikon before, but in pots, and it was in the polytunnel, and it was mainly experimental just to see whether I could get it growing in the UK. So I've managed to source some daikon seeds, and I'm just going to sow them in a drill. I'm just going to put a line against this piece of wood, mainly to keep the line uniform. And then if I show you a close up, they are radish seeds, and as such I'm going to be wanting to sow them with a little bit more spacing than I would do with something like French breakfast. Now, with daikon being large radishes, I'm going to be sowing them in much bigger intervals, about 6 inches apart. And as you've seen me do before, I just cover over the area where the seed was sown. And I've just made another drill along here, and we'll do the same. And I like sowing radish seeds because they're much larger and easier to handle. So a very important part of any sowing, as well as planting of vegetables, is the watering. Now, the ground is loose soil. I've actually sieved the soil a couple of times, so it's more of a crumbly structure, and if I can't get roots to form here, then I'm going to struggle elsewhere. So that's part of the preparation. Always grow long radish or daikon, or mooli as it's referred to in the Indian subcontinent. Grow it in soft ground. I'm expecting a proportion of the plant, the root crop, to prod out from the ground, but that's looking further ahead. Let's see if we can get germination first of all. We're in the 3rd week of August now, and the daikon is growing quite well. And the daikon trial area is looking alright. I've had to take the glass panel off the top, and some of the weeds that were in amongst the homemade compost have germinated. It's mainly grass, so we'll have to do a bit of weeding. But more importantly, the daikon is starting to develop. I'm not expecting at this point the radish itself to be visible in terms of forming what we would associate with daikon shape, but the plants look healthy enough. I've just done a bit of a tidy up around the moola patch, or daikon as I've called it, and thought I'd just show you progress. There is some development of the daikon. Quite how big they'll get, I'm not sure, because it's my first year of trying to grow it on a patch outside in the allotment. But the early signs are promising. So this winter radish is not getting any bigger, and there's a threat of frost possibly in the next week or so, and there's lots of rain, and it's all pointing towards getting this lot out now. So we'll get on with that, and we'll have a look at what we've managed to muster together this year. So this is the winter radish or daikon bed that we sowed a few months ago, and we'll just pull up this first one. Now it's obviously quite wet, the ground, but you can see that it's got the long radish form that you associate with daikon, but obviously this isn't the variety that grows to anywhere near a foot long, but nevertheless it is daikon. And I'll carry on with the rest of this harvest. There's a couple of patches that we've got inside a greenhouse and in the polytunnel, and I'll probably pull that lot up as well. So we'll see you back shortly, and we'll have a look at what the harvest is like this year. So this is the other small patch where we grew daikon. The difference is this patch is within a greenhouse, and it's the area where I said that there was one particular daikon that looked half decent. So we'll have a go at pulling this one up. Now this is more like it. So I think we'll have a go at it next time and see if we can get a few more that look like this one. Right, this is the last patch that I'm going to clear now. This is the area where we had beefsteak tomato. Now that's not too bad, is it? We've actually got one or two that I've pulled up that look quite reasonable, but the vast majority of them haven't developed very well. So back to the drawing board with that one, but I won't give up. It was the first year of trying to grow daikon, and whilst I'm a little bit underwhelmed, it's not been a total disaster. So that's just an honest picture of where we're at with this daikon. There's a lot more that probably needs to be done before I can get it to where I want it to be, but for the first year trial, it's not too bad. There we go, mullah or daikon.